Have you ever left a crowded place, walked into a quiet room, closed the door, and suddenly felt something strange? Relief, not sadness, not loneliness, relief, as if your mind can finally breathe again, as if all the noise of the world just disappeared for a moment. Most people don't understand this feeling. They think that enjoying time alone means something is wrong, that maybe you're antisocial or shy or disconnected from people. But psychology suggests something very different, because the truth is, people who feel peaceful in solitude often share a very specific way of thinking. And once you understand it, you may start seeing yourself in a completely different way. Imagine a simple situation. You spend the day around people, conversations, messages, small talk, noise everywhere. Nothing dramatic happens. Everything is normal. But by the end of the day, something inside you feels tired, not physically, mentally, as if your mind has been running all day without a pause. And when you finally find a quiet moment, you feel something unusual, calm. Your thoughts slow down. Your breathing feels deeper, your mind starts wandering in its own direction, and strangely, you enjoy it. For some people, silence feels uncomfortable. They immediately grab their phone, open social media, call someone, anything to escape being alone with their thoughts. But others don't run from silence. They settle into it. And psychology shows that this difference often comes from how a person's mind processes the world. Some minds experience life on the surface. They move quickly from one moment to the next. Conversation happens. Then it's gone. Emotion appears. Then it fades. But other minds work differently. They process things more deeply. They notice subtle details. The way someone's tone changes during a conversation. The small pause before someone answers a question. The feeling in a room when something unsaid is hanging in the air, while others simply experience social interactions. These individuals absorb them, and that constant awareness can quietly drain mental energy. Pause for a moment and reflect on something. Have you ever left a social gathering and found yourself replaying certain moments in your mind? Something someone said, a look someone gave, a conversation that felt slightly different. Your mind begins analyzing it without even trying. Why did they say that? Did I misunderstand something? Was there something deeper behind those words? This is something many deep thinkers experience. Their mind naturally searches for meaning, and after hours of interacting with people, their brain simply needs space to process everything. That space often comes in the form of solitude. But there is another psychological reason why some people enjoy being alone, and it's something most people rarely talk about. When someone becomes comfortable with solitude, they slowly build a relationship with their own mind. Most people spend their entire lives surrounded by distractions, noise, screens, conversations, constant stimulation, so they rarely sit long enough to truly observe their own thoughts. But solitude creates a different environment, a quiet one. And in that quiet space, your mind begins asking questions, sometimes simple ones, sometimes uncomfortable ones. What do I actually want from life? Why do certain things affect me so deeply? Why do I react the way I do in certain situations? These are the kinds of questions that shape self-awareness, but they require silence, because it is difficult to understand yourself when the world around you is constantly speaking. People who spend time alone often develop something powerful. They begin to recognize their own emotional patterns, their fears, their habits, their motivations, things that many people only notice much later in life. Now here's something interesting. Many people assume that those who enjoy being alone dislike others. But that assumption is often wrong. In many cases, people who enjoy solitude actually value relationships more deeply. They simply approach them differently. Instead of chasing attention, they search for authenticity. Instead of wanting many connections, they prefer meaningful ones. Think about it. Some people can spend hours talking with dozens of people, yet still feel emotionally empty. But a single deep conversation with the right person can feel more fulfilling than an entire crowd. People who are comfortable being alone often understand this difference. They don't avoid people. They simply become selective about who they give their energy to. Pause for a moment and ask yourself something honestly. Do you prefer a few real connections or many casual ones? Do you enjoy conversations where you can truly speak your mind, or situations where you must constantly adjust your personality to fit the environment? For many people who enjoy solitude, the answer becomes clear over time. Depth feels more meaningful than quantity. There is also another quiet benefit of solitude. It builds independence. When someone becomes comfortable spending time alone, they stop depending on constant approval from others. They no longer feel pressured to fill every moment with social activity. They learn something that many people struggle with: how to exist peacefully in their own company. And this creates a quiet kind of confidence, not loud confidence, not attention-seeking confidence, but inner stability. The kind that doesn't disappear when the room becomes silent, But here is an important truth. Enjoying solitude does not mean someone never feels lonely. Everyone experiences loneliness at times. The difference is that people who enjoy being alone understand something important. There is a difference between being alone and feeling alone. Being alone is simply a situation. Feeling alone is an emotional experience. Someone can be surrounded by people and still feel deeply lonely. And someone else can sit quietly by themselves and feel completely at peace. Once a person understands this difference, something powerful happens. They stop running from themselves. They stop fearing silence because they realize something simple but important. The relationship you have with your own mind is the longest relationship you will ever have. So learning to sit quietly with your thoughts, learning to listen to your own emotions, learning to understand yourself without distraction may actually be one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. And in a world that is constantly loud, constantly demanding attention, constantly trying to fill every moment with noise, someone who can quietly enjoy their own company may possess a rare strength. So if you sometimes prefer being alone, if silence feels peaceful instead of uncomfortable, if your mind often drifts into deeper reflection, there may be nothing wrong with you. Your mind might simply be wired to experience life more thoughtfully than most people realize. And sometimes, the most meaningful conversations you will ever have are the ones that happen quietly inside your own mind.